Hello and welcome to Dirt Technology Podcast. My name is Ryan Lancer and I am your host. Well, this is a long time coming. I've had plans on doing this podcast for quite some time, and both my businesses have just been super busy lately, so it's taken me some time to get this all set up and to actually do it. And I've known for a while that I needed to do a podcast, and I've had it in the works, and I've kind of had the layout out there and planned it and talked to people about it, and I had posted on social media a while back, podcast coming soon, and just got busy with the day-to-day of everything and COVID and 2020 and everything that happened, and was just running my businesses and staying busy. And I was on LinkedIn kind of flashing back through some old posts, and I happened to see that it's my original podcast post that I had said podcast coming soon was actually 3 months ago. And I was like, man, 3 months. It flew by so fast. But, everything's been, despite everything happening in our world and country, construction, I think, has been booming still, and I think it's fair to say that we're going into a strong 2021 in this industry, and technology is definitely advancing rapidly, and that's why we're here. So this podcast is going to be called Dirt Technology, and the whole premise is that we're going to debut and show some of the best, latest and greatest technology available for earthwork excavation contractors out there, and that can have anything to do with software, machine control, GPS machine control, survey equipment, as some of the social media aspects of kind of where things are going with social media and excavation and earthwork construction and mining. It's definitely ramping up. Things are ramping up, and I'm going to go into a little bit about my history and where I come from and my background and where I am today and where we're going, and kind of the purpose of this whole podcast. And kind of this is just our introductory episode 1, if you will. Introductory to get you interested in what we have to say and what we're going to do and our plan for this podcast. And if you're interested in following along and listening, then it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome if you would. So I'm going to start with my story a little bit, kind of go way back, bring it back to today, and then kind of go into the future. So first off, who am I? I'm Ryan Lancer. I'm 39 years old. Kind of a serial entrepreneur. Moved out at a young age, 15 and a half. I left home. Didn't even have my driver's license yet. Moved out of state by myself, and within a few weeks had my first job. And I was actually living in Pahrump, Nevada. If anybody knows where that is, it's about an hour from Las Vegas. Little small town. It's grown a lot since then, but it's still kind of a small town feel, away from Vegas, just over the California border. Desert area, in between. There's kind of a testing zone on this side of Nellis Air Force Base, and then Pahrump, and then the California border. But so anyways, I moved back to California at 15 and a half. I was given a Mustang at age 13 from my parents, and I had worked on it and rebuilt the motor and got it going. And at 15 and a half, I pawned my TV and I pawned my 10-inch speakers from the back seat of my Mustang at the local pawn shop. I filled up my Mustang with a tank of gas, and I headed to California. And I arrived in California about 9 o'clock at night with $20 bill in my pocket. That's all I had left. And empty tank of gas, no food, and didn't have a plan, had no idea what I was going to do and where I was going to sleep. And so I went through a drive-thru, grabbed a McDonald's Big Mac combo, and that was, $5. And I pulled around to the gas station on the corner and filled up my tank with the rest of my $15, and sat there for a minute, ate my hamburger, and decided, okay, now what? Now what am I going to do? And kind of ended up finding a place to stay with a relative that I hadn't seen in a long, long time on my father's side of the family. And I went and knocked on the door at 10 o'clock at night and said, "Hey, I'm here." And it was actually my grandmother, and she hadn't seen me since I was very little. I was 7 or 8 years old, and she was like, "Oh wow, you're here. Yeah, come on in, come on in." She didn't recognize me, and she let me in and gave me a place to stay and gave me a room, and she had the whole house to herself, so she kind of gave me a room. My grandfather had passed away, and she had the whole house. So anyways, I immediately I knew I had to work. I knew I had to make money, so I immediately started looking for a job. Opened up the paper and started calling on landscape jobs, and of course I wasn't 16 yet, so I had to kind of find something. So anyways, I found a landscaping job the next town over, under the table, and the guy paid me $5 an hour cash, and I pretty much became a human trencher for a few years, maybe about a year. So I dug trenches. I went wherever the trenching machine could not go. So if it was right next to a fence or in between rocks or on a hill or on a slope or too hard for the trenching machine, then I would pickaxe, shovel, and dig. And I did that day after day, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for a year. I lost 75 pounds in the process, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about hard work, and that kind of started my journey in laboring and being a hard worker. And from there, I got a job over the summer, helping my dad build a big house add-on home for his boss, and his boss happened to be an excavation contractor. And I was framing every weekend, helping frame the house, and the boss, my dad's boss, saw me, and he's like, "Man, this kid's a hard worker, and he hustles and he works hard." And he had a guy running a Bobcat around that time, a young kid running a Bobcat, maybe in his early 20s. And so he something happened there, I'm not sure what, and that guy left or disappeared, and next thing you know, he offered me a job. Said, "Hey, come labor, and eventually, you'll get in a Bobcat, and eventually you'll learn equipment." And so I took him up on it, and that was done sand in Visalia, California, and I worked there 3-4 years on a shovel, labor. Worked my way up to small equipment, skip loaders, Bobcats, demo, saw cutting. Pretty much the way he ran it was kind of a one-man small operation. I'd go out with a 1-ton and a Bobcat with 3 buckets and a saw cutting machine and a demo hammer, and I'd go demo, grade, get the parking lot ready to pave, do it all by myself. And he'd send a dump truck out to load up, and it'd just be a one-man crew. And so I was doing that for 3-4 years, and busting butt, working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks, every week after week, making, I think at that point, $6 an hour, still cash under the table. And so I was at this point, I'm 17, 18 years old, and I'm getting good at dirt work. I'm getting good at grading, and I'm a hustler. I work hard, and we get this paving parking lot job in town, and so he sends me out there like normal by myself with a Bobcat and a Baker Olson and a skip loader, and I demo out the parking lot and by morning, and I smooth up the base rock and have a little extra load thrown in, and I kind of grade it out and get it all ready and prepped for asphalt and tack the edges and run the roller and call them up 1 o'clock, like, "Hey, we're ready for asphalt." And asphalt crew shows up and paves, and end of the day they all go home and leave, and I'm sweeping, finishing up, cleaning up the job, getting ready to head out for the day, and this little short man walks out from across the street at Ryan's Place restaurant, and he goes, "Hey, I've been watching you all day," and he goes, "You just did in one day what our 3 or 4 or 5-man crews take 2 or 3 days to do at our business, at our company, and you need to come work for us." And I was like, that's interesting. I just thought it was normal to work out hard and didn't think nothing of it. And So I talked to him a little bit and exchanged information, and his name was Glenn Hartwell. Since then has retired, but he was an estimator for a company called Mark Hoffman General Engineering in Tulare, and I ended up taking the position and went over there and started as a operator, and from there started learning motor grader, skip loader, still motor grader, scraper, water truck, all the basic equipment, just kind of starting out. And I worked my way up to foreman, and had a crew under me and was running jobs, and then I was running multiple jobs, and then every once in a while, the old man, he'd call me into the office and say, "Hey, I need some help estimating. Can you do this takeoff and whatnot?" And so I helped him a little bit, and he was happy. He was teaching me stuff, and I was still busting ass, doing dirt and moving dirt and busting ass like I always did. And one day we had in the yard, we were loading up a roller, and we had a trailer malfunction and fall on a guy. And I went over there to lift it up, and in the process of lifting it up off of him so he could get out with the roller on it, I injured my back and threw my back out. And I was early 20s at the time, and I'm fine, I can still work, and I think I missed a day or half a day of work. And well, anyways, they didn't want me to overdo it. They were worried about me making it worse, so they decided to bring me in the office for a week or so, let me heal up, and besides that, he needed some help estimating anyway. So I went to the office and started helping Glenn, and started doing takeoffs on this program called AgTech. Back then it was Site 98. It was a old digitizer board, about 3 foot by 4 foot, slanted, plan table, and we had a digitizer, and there was no on-screen, there was no PDFs. You taped the paper down and you scaled it with a old school ruler, and you made your little ant triangle, your 90-degree marks, and you scaled it, and you highlighted your little scale marks and scaled it and digitized on the screen. And I just thought it was the best thing in the world. I was doing takeoffs, and was getting good at it, and learning how to estimate, and learning what he needed for takeoffs so he could estimate. And basically, they never let me leave the office. Glenn liked having help so much and liked what I was doing with the estimating that he said, I'm not letting Ryan go back in the field. I'm taking him in here. So taking him under my wing, and I'm going to teach him how to estimate. So I learned from an old school estimator getting ready to retire how to bid dirt the old way, pencil and paper and gritting and everything, the whole 9 yards. So anyways, I went on to become the operations manager of that company at age 24, believe it or not. At age 24, I was running the entire company. This is pre-2008 and going into 2008. And we were strictly at this time a residential excavation company doing residential subdivisions all over town and all over the valley. And I became operations manager. We went from 4 million to 12 million. We went from about 8 employees to about 56 employees, and everything was booming, going great. Owner was happy. I was estimating, running the operations manager, running the whole company, hiring, firing, the whole 9 yards at 24, which is kind of crazy to think. And then 2008, the bottom fell out and residential went away overnight, and company folded. We got left unpaid on a couple $1 million projects. We had a lot of labor and materials and pipe in the ground, and we owned most of the equipment, but it still hurt. A couple million not getting paid, and the developers boarded up the windows and office and were out of town overnight. So you went to knock on the door to get the check, and they were gone. You didn't know where they went. They were just gone. So that kind of changed the dynamic in the whole in 2008, and the whole market crashed. So I had been wanting to get my Class A general engineering license in California so I could eventually go out on my own and do my own company. So I figured it was time. It was time to do that. So I took the test, passed, got my A general engineering license, which is still active today. and I started putting bids out and contracting and doing little projects, sewer laterals and demo and patch paving and everything. And I got by for a year or two in the slow times right post 2008. And I was getting by. It wasn't great. It was tough. I struggled and pushed and struggled, and I made it 2 years. And right around that time, one of my buddies who had a concrete company that was blowing up needed some estimating help, so I went to work for him, and we actually created a general engineering company and grew that real well, and it grew, and he ended up getting into some back tax trouble that I didn't know about, and kind of started to lose the company. So I started looking for a job elsewhere, and I got on at Emmett's Excavation in Clovis as a estimator. Went there, worked my way up to chief estimator, and I was there about 8 or 10 years, about 8 years. And about 10 years ago, in the middle of that process, I started doing takeoffs on weekends, and it was just one a week. One a weekend on my own to make a little side money here and there to pay my truck payment or whatnot, have a little extra spending cash, and because I enjoyed doing it and enjoyed helping contractors, and that was 10 years ago. So it grew into what it is today, which is affordable site model. We have 10 full-time technicians. I guess this is on where I am now. So today, affordable site model. We are earthwork takeoff GPS machine control company. We have over 500 clients nationwide. We perform full GPS machine control data. We build it for Trimble, Topcon, Leica, for contractors all over the United States. We have 10 full-time staff engineers here in the office, and we're growing. We're growing year over year, and it's exciting. It's fun, and we kept getting asked to do drone stuff and drone topoing, drone surveying, if you will, and measuring stockpiles and measuring volume. So, and I had always been in RC growing up. My dad was in RC airplanes and whatnot. So, and I was already messing around with drones. And so I thought, well, yeah, maybe there's a way I could measure a stockpile with a drone with pictures, because I had been climbing stockpiles with a rod and doing it the old school way. I just had the idea one day 10 years ago to start, well, probably about 10 years ago, to start measuring my stockpiles and stuff I needed to measure, or sites with my drone. So I started figuring out and learning and trying to figure out how to do it and studying, and then I realized, wow, there's this thing called photogrammetry, and they've been doing this for a long time with airplanes already, with airplanes and cameras, and well, drone's nothing but a cheaper airplane that flies lower and has a better camera. So before I even knew photogrammetry was a thing, and before I knew it was even being done, I thought I had created the idea. I thought I came up with it, and I didn't. I come to find out it was an actual thing, but I wanted to figure out how to do it with drones. So I started Skydirt about 5 years ago. In the middle of affordable site model, I started Skydirt, and that is our drone division that does drone surveying, drone mapping, and we're growing, year over year, and affordable site model is growing, and everything's going good. But anyways, it's not enough about me. So that brings me to today and where I am now. And then basically, I started this whole podcast to shed light on dirt technology and the coolest, latest stuff that's coming out in drones and tech and GPS machine control and social media. And I think there's a cool movement going on, and dirt and mining sites are getting more recognition online, and we're trying to attract new people to the industry and help find employees and help and workers, which is really hard. One of the biggest problems right now is finding young people that want to get into this line of work, and kind of want to help further the market, educate, entertain, show people out there, youngsters today, that this is a cool industry to get into. You can pave your way. You can have a great career. You make good money doing something you love, enjoy, be outside every day, work with technology and drones, and it's exciting, because I started in the field grade checking with Swedes. I don't know if you know what Swedes are, but some of you old timers probably know, eye levels and whatnot. But Swedes, we'd weld together 3 tube steel with a flat plate on bottom and a flat plate on top, and they'd be the exact same size. and you'd make grade on one side of the job, one side of the parking lot, and you make grade on the other side, and you set the two Swedes on each side, and then you set the Swede in the middle, and you would line the two outer ones up with your line of sight. You'd bend down and line them up, and the middle one would be higher or lower, and you could see, and you could literally call out grade, and the guy in the middle holding the middle Swede, you down a tenth. So he'd dig a hole and set the Swede down, and you say down half a tenth, and he'd dig a hole and set the Swede down, and you say, okay, grade, and he'd make a mark, and then you'd slide him over and do it again, and slide him over and do it again. And we graded tons of base rock and tons of parking lots, and Walmart parking lots and dealership parking lots, and we never had GPS, and we never had lasers, and we did a great job. I mean, it was perfect, paved, smooth, everybody was always happy, and, you know, efficient and fun, and outside in the sun all day. And then along came GPS, and you know, lasers first, and then GPS, and then UTS, and technology is just rapidly advancing now in this industry, and it's really cool where we're headed. I think it's really awesome. I think it's a game changer. I think it's going to help if we show the technology in this space and what's coming. I think we can build some excitement in the generations to come, and maybe get some more workers coming into the industry, which is what we need, because as you know, old timers are retiring every day at a massive rate, and those are the guys that know how to do it. Those are the guys that know how to do it old school, and they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone soon, and there's going to be a whole new way of doing things, and it's going to change overnight. And the industry is just, it's awesome. I'm so excited for it. I love it. I'm passionate about it. This is what I love doing. And so anyways, that's the gist of it. So where we're going with this podcast is we're gonna show the latest technology, the best technology out there coming. We're gonna have different manufacturers on this platform. We're gonna have young go-getters and entrepreneurial dirt excavation contractors that are coming up, utilizing the technology to advance their company, be more productive, get more done with less people, because it's hard to find people, and it really about innovation and innovators in the industry. That's really the whole gist of this podcast, is to highlight the innovators in this industry. And I'm excited to do it. We've got several set up. I think you guys are going to love it. I've already been having some good phone conversations about it, and everybody's jazzed. And some of the clients that are some of the people I've spoke to that potentially are very interested in coming on the podcast are excited. And man, we just talk. You can talk for hours about this stuff. It's so cool what's going on in the industry. It's just exciting to me. And so yeah, we're just going to highlight blue collar workers, innovative excavation contractors, big and small, anybody that has new tech, and we're not going to be biased to any one manufacturer. This is there's no sponsors or anything like that. We're just going to put it out there, what's out there. We're going to show you, we're going to teach you, we're going to educate you, we're going to entertain you, and that's the whole plan. So I hope you follow along. I hope you listen. I hope you enjoy it, and I'm really excited. Looking forward to it. We're going to be posting on a regular schedule, so stay tuned. And that's all I got for today. But intro episode 1, Dirt Technology. This is Ryan Lancer signing out, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And see you later.